In this video, I'm gonna show you how to become a network security engineer. Now, what most people don't know is that the network security engineer is not just one singular job. For example, the firewall specialist who installs and configures the firewall is a network security engineer, but also the cybersecurity analyst who analyzes network traffic and looks for malicious traffic is also a network security engineer. It's a broad set of roles, and sometimes even cybersecurity professionals who are not necessarily network security engineers, they require some network security knowledge to perform their cybersecurity tasks. This is something that not many people understand, which lead to a lot of confusion, especially when it comes to training and certifications to land a network security engineer job. Therefore, in this video, I will share with you a step-by-step roadmap that can take someone who have zero technical skills and no degree all the way to land their first network security engineer job. But first, I need to explain to you the different roles that fall under the umbrella of a network security engineer. And then we're gonna go over the training and certifications that will give you the skills to land your network security engineer job. And then I will show you how to search for network security jobs and show you which job titles you need to target for entry-level network security jobs. And finally, I will share with you why I moved away from a network security engineering job. Almost 10 years ago, I worked at one of the biggest banks in Australia in their network security engineering team. But after a few months, I decided to move sideways to a different cybersecurity team within the same bank. I will share with you my reasons, but first let's start with part 1. What is a network security engineer? Now, to truly understand what a network security engineer does, first you need to understand this. Every organization will have applications and servers and users. Now, the way users and applications and servers talk to each other is through a network. That network could be internal, or it could be somewhere in the cloud, or somewhere on the internet. Now, the job of the network security engineer is to understand exactly how that traffic flows and to protect that traffic from hackers or any malicious activity. Now, the way they accomplish that is through network security devices. We have things like firewalls or intrusion detection and prevention systems. We even have things at the application layer like proxies and web application firewalls. They also do things like access control, and they even analyze logs from these network security devices. Now, one could argue that the individual who analyzes network traffic to identify if there is something malicious is actually the SOC analyst. It's not the network security engineer. And you would be right. However, things in the real world are messy, which means job titles aren't exactly accurate. So you will run into organizations where, yes, the SOC analyst is the person who analyzes that traffic, whereas in other organizations, you might find the network security engineer installing and configuring the firewall, but they also perform traffic analysis. So it really varies, and I want you to have an open mind when it comes to job titles, because in the real world they're really messy. I know network security engineers who have the title of information security analyst or cybersecurity specialist, yet all they do is just network security engineering. So don't get too emotionally attached to a job title. And as you will see later in this video, when we look at network security engineer jobs, you will find that some network security engineers do things like cloud security and GRC and SOC analyst. So the role can be broad. However, the true meaning of a network security specialist or a network security engineer is that they specialize in network security devices in order to protect network from malicious activities or attackers. Now, with that definition in mind, there are actually two problems with network security engineer jobs. Number one is they are actually highly technical jobs, and as a result, they are not the most beginner friendly jobs. They want you to already have technical experience because they are trusting you with something extremely important, like the firewall of the organization or the IPS. And number two is, believe it or not, there are so many network security engineers who are extremely precious about their job. They get really sensitive about it, and they try so hard to gatekeep the job. In fact, even in my consulting engagements, I occasionally run into network security engineers who are not the most friendly people, and they don't like it when beginners try to land a network security engineer job. Now, I'm gonna solve both of these problems for you in the next part of this video. I'll give you a way to progressively build your knowledge and skills, earn certifications, do hands-on labs to overcome that experience requirement, which will lead you into landing your first network security engineer job. We cover all this in part 2 of this video, training and certifications. I want you to think of the network security engineer as a cybersecurity professional who specializes in network security, as opposed to a network engineer who specializes in cybersecurity. Now, the difference might be subtle, however, this will dictate complicate our learning plan. The reason why I want you to be more of a cybersecurity professional with network security knowledge is because this mindset will give us the freedom to learn network security engineering but also upskill in cybersecurity. This will help you overcome the experience requirement that a lot of jobs are asking for, but it will also maximize the number of jobs that you can apply to as a beginner. This will make more sense in part 3 of this video when we talk about applying to jobs. With that in mind, the first training and certification that I want you to do is actually 2 certs, which are the Google Cybersecurity Cert and Cisco CCNA. Now, when it comes to network security, CCNA is kind of a no-brainer. It will give you all the networking fundamentals, but it will also prepare you for a career as a network engineer. And yes, that includes something like network security. Whereas the Google Cybersecurity Cert is actually a broad introduction into cybersecurity. Now, I did my CCNA in 2005, and when I did it, I still remember I used the black book by the author Todd Lammle, and it was really good and engaging, especially for topics like subnetting, but also because the CCNA has a practical component, I used the Boson simulator. Now, believe it or not, to this day, these same resources are actually the best resources to get CCNA. Now, I say this, and I know there are so many other resources, so if you feel like you want to learn through something else, you're more than welcome, but this is what I've used, and this is what seems to be working even to this day. Now, just a note for those who watch my videos, CCNA I only recommend if you want to work in network security engineering. I typically don't recommend it if you want to do any other cybersecurity specialization. Now, with the Google Cybersecurity Cert, it's hosted on Coursera, where you get the first 7 days for free, so you can check it out and see if it's something you want to continue. But it's really good for beginners who have zero background because it eases you into the world of cybersecurity. It will give you a broad introduction to many cybersecurity domains, and it even has labs on Linux, MySQL, and Python, which are things that you will deal with as a network security engineer. So it's a good starting point. Now, I know some of you will want to do something like CompTIA Network Plus, and honestly, it's not something that I recommend. It's highly theoretical and it's completely unnecessary. So save your time and money. For networking, CCNA is more than enough. Now, if you really want to do CompTIA, then what I recommend is you do CompTIA Security Plus. You actually get 30% discount when you finish the Google Cybersecurity Cert, so you can do both for a broad introduction to cybersecurity. I'm gonna put links to all the learning resources that I recommend to study and pass for those certs. Now, when it comes to network security engineer jobs, where you actually perform them at a senior level, or when you are the person configuring and deploying the firewalls and doing these high-level tasks, if I'm honest with you, you will need something like Cisco CCNP Security. Now, it's not one exam, it's a number of exams that you need to pass to get the CCNP, and it's really not beginner friendly. Throughout the years, I've seen beginners who crammed and passed the CCNP. Unfortunately, that doesn't translate well into the job. So my recommendation to you is leave the CCNP Security for now, continue with the rest of the learning plan, land the job, then you can look into something like CCNP Security. Now, if you look at some of the network security engineer job listings, you will actually notice 3 things. Number 1 is, as I said in the beginning of the video, there are so many variety of roles. So it's not just one job. And number 2, a lot of the jobs are asking for vendor specific skills. For example, you'll see jobs that want you to have experience with Palo Alto or Fortinet or Cisco. Some jobs even want you to have cloud security skills. And number 3 is that some jobs are asking for a variety of skills that are not even network security. Some jobs, for example, want you to know cybersecurity frameworks like NIST and ISO 27001, which are GRC skills, whereas other jobs want you to know how to perform cybersecurity incident response, which is a SOC analyst skill. Now, because of this number of variety, I want you to do the following resources in order for us to meet what these jobs are looking for. So we're gonna look at 2 vendors. We have Fortinet and Palo Alto. From Fortinet, I want you to do the Network Security Support Engineer training. This is hosted in Coursera, and it will introduce you to so many extremely important concepts in network security. So if we have a look together, we start off with troubleshooting concepts, and then you get introduced to FortiOS and then system resources. This is where you get introduced to the Fortinet operating system. Then you go through sessions, traffic flow and networking, firewall authentication, security profiles, and IP security. It's a great introduction for you to become a network security support engineer who can support Fortinet devices. So this is how I want you to add it to your resume. First, go to unixguy.com/free, download my free cybersecurity resume template, and under certifications, we're simply gonna add one bullet point where we specifically mention Fortinet and the skills that we learned from this training. This way, if the job is asking for Fortinet, then you're gonna have this keyword on your resume. Now from Palo Alto, which is another prominent network security vendor, they have their own Palo Alto Network Cybersecurity Professional Certificate. This is a little bit longer, but it will give you an excellent introduction into network security concepts and Palo Alto. Now, what I really like is the third module here because it goes over the cloud security fundamentals. I actually work a lot with Palo Alto as a vendor because a lot of my clients use Palo Alto and I know they are pushing so hard for cloud solutions. So this will actually give you skills that are really hot in the market. And again, when it comes to the resume, we're just gonna have one bullet point where we mention the certificate, which will give us the Palo Alto keyword that might be in a job description, but also we're gonna have a paragraph with the skills that you learned from that training. You can pause the video, take a screenshot, and add this to your resume. And I'll leave links to everything in the description box under the video so you can check out these resources for yourself. Now with these resources in our resume, it actually looks really good and your resume screams network security. And the next step for us will be to apply to jobs, which is part 3 of this video. But before we continue, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, TryHackMe. If you're familiar with my videos, then you know that I've recommended TryHackMe as a learning platform because TryHackMe speaks my language. They are a practical hands-on cybersecurity training platform that give you skills that the market is actually looking for. They currently have 5 million active users globally. It's a popular platform, and one of the great things about it is that you learn everything in browsers, so you don't need a high-tech laptop in order to run things like virtual machines or heavy labs. Now, the reason why I've consistently recommended TryHackMe and people have landed jobs following advice on my videos and doing TryHackMe training is because it's not your typical multiple choice theoretical fluff. Instead, it's a practical hands-on experience where you can perform hacking on networks in a safe lab environment without any legal consequences. This is actually a great way for you to gain experience, which companies are increasingly looking for. Now, the main driver of this sponsorship is actually a campaign that TryHackMe is running. It's called Hack to Win. This is a way for you to learn using TryHackMe and win valuable prizes. Now, Hack to Win is running up until 10th of September 2025. And the way it works is that if you complete any TryHackMe room, whether it's a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, you actually get a chance to win. Now, they actually have 3 levels of prizes. They have bronze, silver, and gold. Now, when you just randomly do a room, you enter the ticketing system to randomly win a prize from any level. However, if you collect 10 tickets of the same type, you enter to win a prize from that tier. So if you have 10 tickets on the bronze level, you automatically enter to the bronze level. Now, the bronze level prizes are things like streak freezes and XP boost. If you're familiar with TryHackMe platform, you will know what that means because it will improve your learning journey. With the silver level, you can win some TryHackMe merch and free premium subscription for up to 6 months. However, the gold level is where you get some really cool prizes. You could get gaming laptops, Amazon gift cards, Logitech G Pro keyboards, Flipper Zero device, and other cool gadgets that any cybersecurity professional would love to have. Now, if you actually have a premium subscription to TryHackMe, for each room you solve, you get 2 tickets to win the prizes, so you double your chances of winning. And if you want to get the annual premium plan, you can get 20% discount using code UNIXGUY25. This is a perfect time to subscribe so you can participate and enter into the Hack to Win, which will end on 10th of September 2025. Check it out, and back to the video. When it comes to applying to network security engineer jobs, I want you to prioritize the following keywords. Your first and most important one would be network security. So simply go to a job search website and type network security. Now, as I said earlier, titles are a little bit messy. So when you type network security, you will see so many jobs that may or may not be network security. You will come across jobs that are a network engineer job. They just have the word security in it. So you really need to read every job description to know that they are the one that you're targeting. If you search for jobs on a daily basis or frequently, you will come to spot them quicker. But as a starting point, you need to look through every job posted when you search for network security. The second way I want you to look for network security engineer jobs is for you to type a vendor name. For example, simply type Palo Alto or Fortinet or Cisco. Yes, this might result in a network support jobs or network engineer jobs, but again, you will spot some network security engineer job or network security support jobs that may not have the keyword network security in the job title. For example, it could be a Palo Alto support specialist, or it could be a Fortinet engineer. Those are network security engineer jobs, they just don't have that title in them. The final keyword, and probably the least important one, is I want you to type network support specialist. Now I know this is not exactly a network security job, however, the network support specialist might be supporting network security infrastructure. So you could be a support specialist for a Cisco firewall or a Fortinet device or a Palo Alto device. So again, those are network security engineer jobs technically, however, they have a different job title. Now, as you can see, a lot of jobs are asking for a variety of skills. Some are asking for cloud security skills or SOC analyst skills or even GRC skills in addition to network security skills. Now, yes, some jobs want you to only do network security. For example, they only want you to manage a firewall, or they only want you to analyze logs from a network device. But I personally don't recommend those jobs. In fact, this is one of the reasons why I left my network security job, which is what we're gonna cover in part 4 of this video. Now, this is a story I've never shared publicly before, but roughly 10 years ago or so, I worked at one of the biggest banks in Australia. At the time, they had data centers and branches worldwide. This has changed in recent time, but what this meant for the cybersecurity team is that they needed to protect the bank from threats worldwide. The network itself was and still is really huge, and there is a wide variety of network security tools. I was really excited. My title was cybersecurity analyst, but my actual duties were really focused on network security. Without giving out compromising details, I was looking after firewalls, proxies, load balancers, and when I say I was just part of a massive team. So we all worked on support tickets, we had to do troubleshooting, we had to analyze network packet captures. It really gave me exposures to so many tools in network security, mainly firewalls, proxies, load balancers, and even web application firewalls. Now, it was a great learning experience for me. However, after a few months, I started to quickly realize that a lot of my colleagues were highly specialized in these tools. Let me explain. So some of the individuals who handled firewalls, they knew these firewalls really well. However, a lot of them didn't know much outside of those firewalls. Now, for me, this is extremely limiting. It's not what I wanted myself to do. Even with the variety of me handling different tools, I was slowly and surely becoming a specialist in those particular tools. That didn't appeal to me, and the second problem is I started to get bored. A lot of the support tickets and issues were starting to repeat themselves, which is okay sometimes, but unfortunately it's not something that I wanted to tolerate at that time. However, the biggest reason why I moved away from that team was because my true interest and passion was into actually stopping cyber attacks. I wanted to be the person who does the digital forensics. I wanted to be the one who does the penetration testing. I wanted to be part of the real action. Yes, network security was important, and yes, I was seeing attacks and stopping them, but it just wasn't what I really wanted. Therefore, I talked to my manager, and after a lot of back and forth, I was able to transfer to a different team within the bank. The team was dealing with data loss protection. Now, little did I know, that little transition that I made would set things in motion for me to later on end up in GRC. At that time, I didn't even know what GRC was. Now, the reason why I'm sharing with you all of this is not because I want you to absolutely do what I did or make the same choices that I made. In fact, I want you to forge your own path, but I want you to take from this one thing. I want you to just broaden your horizon and try not to specialize too much. If the only job that you can get is just a job that supports firewalls, that's great. However, you need to be studying on the side. Because the problem with these specialist jobs is that if you lose your job, you may not be able to find another company that uses that particular firewall. Therefore, I want you to do all the network security engineer training that I recommended for you. This will set you on a path to land your network security job, but I also want you to broaden your horizons. The skills that I want you to have is cloud security. So with cloud security, I want you to start with cloud fundamentals, both for Amazon AWS and Microsoft Azure. You start with that and then work your way up to something like Amazon AWS Security Specialty and Microsoft Azure Security Engineer Associate. Now, I've talked about how to learn cloud security in detail in this video. Please check it out. It's a great resource for you. The next set of skills that I want you to have is GRC. Now, I'm not asking you to be a GRC specialist. However, if you run into a network security engineer job that's asking you to know frameworks like NIST or ISO, then this way you're able to meet those requirements, but also this will help you to move move to management in the future, or even move to more of a leadership role or a team leader role. And for GRC, I highly recommend you go to grcmastery.com. In this training, I gave you all the practical skills that you need in the job without wasting your time. It will teach you everything you need to know about the popular cybersecurity frameworks like NIST, ISO, CIA, Triad, and everything in between. You also get practical hands-on labs and practical case studies where I give you reports from real companies and ask you questions about them. And this will be pretty much all you need in terms of GRC. Now, with your network security engineer skills, and if you manage to add some cloud security on GRC, you will be set for the future. And hopefully you will qualify for a large number of roles. And this way, if you don't land the network security engineer job, you might land the generalist job where you will do some network security tasks alongside something like cloud security or even GRC. Now, as for blue teaming skills or SOC analyst skills or even GRC, I highly recommend you follow this video where I share with you the resources that I've personally followed and vetted that will cover all your bases in terms of blue teaming, SOC analyst, GRC, and cloud. And I also show you how to add them in your resume in a way that stands out to hiring managers. Check it out and I'll see you there.